In a recent column, Matt Hayes of USA Today dives into the deeper issues surrounding the decline of the Alabama Crimson Tide football program, arguing that their current struggles didn't start with new head coach Kalen DeBoer but rather took root during Nick Saban's final season. The loss to Tennessee this past Saturday was just another chapter in a story that began unraveling last year. While many may point to Alabama's most recent 24-17 loss to Tennessee as the turning point, Hayes believes the cracks in the Crimson Tide's once unstoppable dynasty began long before DeBoer's arrival. The team's decline can be traced back to the 2023 season, when Alabama, despite its storied history under Saban, started showing signs of inconsistency and internal discord. One of the pivotal moments from last year came during the annual Iron Bowl against Auburn, when Alabama narrowly escaped with a victory. Auburn, with a 4-7 record and a struggling roster, came shockingly close to beating the Tide, only falling short due to a miraculous 4th and 31 conversion on the final play of the game. Without that improbable play, Alabama would likely have missed the College Football Playoff (CFP) even with their win over Georgia in the SEC championship game.
This near defeat was more than just a close call. It signaled that Alabama was increasingly relying on raw talent rather than the discipline and meticulous preparation that had been the hallmarks of Saban's teams for years.
Internally, the situation grew more tenuous when Saban made the controversial decision to bench starting quarterback Jalen Milroe, leading to friction within the locker room. This incident foreshadowed the deeper issues Alabama would face as the once tightly run ship began to veer off course. For years, Saban's leadership had been the glue holding together a program that thrived on discipline, accountability, and relentless attention to detail. But by the end of the 2023 season, with players gaining more autonomy through the transfer portal and the increasing influence of name, image, and likeness nil deals, Saban's control over the team seemed to wane. The dynamics within college football were shifting, and Saban, legendary though he was, found himself at odds with the new era of player empowerment.
This culminated in Saban's decision to retire at the end of the 2023 season, a move Hayes suggests was influenced by the growing power and independence players were gaining. Saban's retirement not only left a leadership vacuum but also removed the final restraints on a team that had already begun straying from the disciplined foundation he had built.
Enter Kalen DeBoer, who took over the reins in Tuscaloosa with high expectations but a team already grappling with significant challenges. DeBoer, who had achieved success at Washington and had been regarded as one of the top offensive minds in the game, faced a difficult task in his first season with the Crimson Tide. Alabama's early season struggles in 2024 have been glaring. Their shocking 40-point loss to Vanderbilt, an opponent with a roster far less talented than Alabama's, was a stunning blow, signaling just how far the Tide had fallen. A week later, they narrowly avoided another embarrassment, barely escaping with a win over South Carolina, a team led by a freshman quarterback still finding his way. The Tennessee game, long known as the third Saturday in October, further underscored Alabama's decline. Though the 24-17 scoreline suggested a close contest, Tennessee left multiple opportunities on the field. Volunteer quarterback Nico Yamaliva, despite his talent, missed several wide-open receivers throughout the game. Had Yamaliva connected on just a few of those throws, Tennessee likely would have hung 40 points on Alabama as well, according to Hayes.
Despite all of this, Alabama has still managed to show flashes of the team it once was, particularly in games against Georgia, widely regarded as the best team in college football.
The Tide managed to defeat the Bulldogs in the 2023 SEC Championship and even jumped out to a commanding lead over Georgia earlier this season before holding on for another upset victory. But outside of those two standout performances, Alabama has been marked by inconsistency and a lack of the sharpness that once defined them.
Hayes notes that this isn't to suggest Kalen DeBoer can succeed at Alabama. With his coaching pedigree and Alabama's resources, there's every chance he can bring the program back to the elite level it once occupied.
However, the 2024 season is shaping up to be one of transition, where DeBoer must not only implement his system but also figure out which players are committed to his vision for the future. Some players, Hayes speculates, may be more focused on their own futures, whether through nil deals, the transfer portal, or looking ahead to the NFL draft, than on rebuilding the Tide's program. In this current landscape of college football, where players wield more power and have more options than ever before, DeBoer faces a challenge that even Nick Saban struggled with in his final season. The new Alabama head coach will need to navigate these complex dynamics while trying to restore the program's winning culture. Alabama's fall, Hayes concludes, didn't begin with Kalen DeBoer. It started with Nick Saban's final year, as the old guard of college football gave way to the modern era. DeBoer's challenge now is to see whether he can forge a new path forward for the Crimson Tide, one that balances the demands of modern college football with the disciplined, winning mentality that defined Alabama for more than a decade.